Peace and blessings, family. It is yours truly, Amar Mari. I am the founder of Oluwo Fakolade Movement. Oluwo Fakolade Movement is a ministry where we focus on your spiritual, your physical, and your financial well-being. My queen, Amari, is the co-founder. And as my good brother Common said, it's about the people. So right about now, if you will be so kind to share and invite. We have Baba Jahsun Edmonds in the building. And today's subject matter is going to be African spirituality. This has been a series that has been impressed upon my heart for you to get authentic African teaching, all right, via culture and spirituality. And on the day, our brother Baba Jahsun Edmonds is going to share with us his spiritual journey in regards to African spirituality and how it transformed his life and how he feels that it can be a benefit to us as a people. I want to say a lafayette to my brother Kofi Pazi in the building. Lafayette to you, do Ebe. Welcome everybody. Welcome at this time. You'll be so kind to share and invite. That'll be great. Also, put your business information out there in the comment block as well so we can support you. All right. Again, put your business information out there in the comment block so we can support you. We get ready to go live and direct on the set again. African spirituality is the topic of discussion. Let's go. Baba, how you doing?
I'm good. Good.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for taking out the time to come on here, because I know you as a Babalawo, you are so busy. You know, you putting in that work, doing classes and helping people to level up in their spiritual life. And I thank you so much for taking out your time, you know, to share your wisdom with us on today. I follow you as well, the wonderful programs that you be doing, Facebook Live. If I'm not mistaken, what is it? Every other Sunday that you do your Facebook Lives?
Yeah, it depends. Well, through Temple Churchuka, South LA. I'm the Oluwo of that temple. Every other Sunday, respectively, I speak and we do a live stream through Facebook. Yeah.
Okay, family. So before we get off of here, I'll make sure that I post that information as well. As you can see on the screen, that is the information right there where you can contact Babalawo Jahsun Edmonds. Okay, so right there's the information. So if you didn't catch what he said or you still missed it, even after we highlighted in the program, you can contact him there, get his information, so that way you can follow him. Because if you're anything like me, if you're inquisitive about African spirituality, one thing I noticed is that it was very difficult for me to find, and the reason being, family, is I come to find that a lot of this information is supposed to be kept amongst our people. Okay, and so, you know, you have to be taught by those who have been born and raised in it authentically, have been initiated, you know, have been chosen, okay, for them to be able to be Babalawos and to be queen mothers and Ephi, you know, if I'm saying that right, Baba.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Ephi.
Yes, Ephi. You know, so you have to be initiated in that, you know, something that doesn't happen overnight. And so for myself, as I was going on my journey, you know, Baba Jahsun, he's been a great help in providing the service for the teaching of Ephi, you know, teaching Odus and doing services. And I've come to find it to be very helpful for me. So this is how I found out about him. My queen actually exposed me to you, Baba.
Oh, wow.
Yes, she actually shared your video with me. And from that day, I actually been coming on periodically and been watching and been sharing the videos that you've been doing. And not only has it benefited me, but it benefited others. So again, I want to just say thank you for taking out the time, for you to share your life's journey in the arena of Ephi and how it transformed your life. Now, you and I, we had a wonderful, wonderful dialogue on several occasions. And so, I would like for you today to, to share with us, how you got on this journey of Ephi, like what occurred and, how it's affected your life to date.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. I pray Olodumare and all the Irumole support you in this process, and also the people who are out there listening. I pray that Olodumare would support them, and all the Irumole would support and bless everyone who is listening to what we're talking about, and that everyone would be elevated as a result of what they hear and learn from today. And also that what I would say would be something that wouldn't be from my ego, would be something from Ifa, something from Olodumare, that would be a divine message that people would be able to take, learn from, and grow and add on. So with that, for me, the journey was very interesting because I look at hip hop music as being a catalyst for my growth. I grew up during a time when every rapper had to be saying something conscious.
Absolutely. KRS-One.
Yeah, KRS-One, X Clan, Poor Righteous Teachers, Brand Nubian, Public Enemy. Everybody was saying something. Grab a microphone and say something unless you were saying something conscious. I grew up in San Diego, California, and I grew up in an area that was, during that time, infested by gang violence, and for me, you had to choose what box you wanted to be in. You know what I'm saying? In order to these are things. For Black folks, for particularly Black men, these are choices that we make for our own survival. In terms of, for me, am I going to be a gangster? Am I going to be an athlete? Am I going to be these are some of our choices, some of our lanes to be in. And for me, I chose to be, I chose to involve myself in consciousness and conscious hip hop and so on and so forth. And that was influence for me in going to college, joining the Pan-African Associations of America under Baba Baye, Dwayne Bradford. I joined that organization when I was in college, which was probably like 20, 30 years ago. And then in joining that, learning so much about African history and culture and things like that, that was initially the catalyst. And from there, that awakened like an ancestral connection where I felt ancestrally pulled, spiritually pulled to the tradition in many different ways, even down to my sister being incorporated, mounted by spirits. When my family would church, she would get mounted. And interestingly enough, at church, they're thinking, oh, it's the Holy Spirit. It was the Holy Spirit, but it was the Holy Spirit of our ancestors. Because then she would come back and tell me messages. And then I would go to other places like New York. I would go from there to New York, and the same spirit that was speaking through my sister when I would be in New York City with the people that I was around at Bimbe's, at different Palo functions, at different voodoo functions, that spirit that was speaking through my sister, the ancestral spirit that was speaking through her, would speak through other people in remote areas. Like I'm from San Diego. That's like 5,000 miles or something, 2,000 miles from New York City. I'm in New York City. My sister's not there. Other people who don't know her very well are also mounted by the same spirit of an ancestor saying the same things that she said. So that was
Wow.
one of the big experiences that I had that really pulled me into this tradition, because it wasn't for me about, oh, this is powerful. Oh, this is it does these kinds of things. It's scientific. No, it was blood. No, it was blood that brought me here. I wrote in a poem years ago. I'm also a writer. Years ago, I wrote.
Wow. What else you do? You rap too?
Yeah, I was like, a MC for a long time.
Check that out.
And because I mean, like I said, hip hop brought me into this.
MC Babalao.
You know, and in the piece I wrote, and it, this was 15, 20 years ago. And you sometimes you don't know what you're saying to yourself.
True.
Until years later. And I went back and I read it, and I read a poem that I wrote, and it said, "My blood remembers you. My blood remembers you." And this was a message that I got from some of my ancestors by saying, my blood remembers you. You forgot us, but your blood remembers. So my blood literally was calling me to the tradition. As many, Black folks, our blood remembers this. So that is what brought me here. Not the thirst for power, not the thirst for any kind of, magical trick that could do anything. No, it was my blood.
Wow. That is powerful. So how did you come to find what you were dealing with at that time? Because that's a question I get a lot, Baba, is how were you able to detect that? Like, was it a ritual you went through, your prayer life? Like, how were you able to recognize the energy force that you were dealing with?
You mean like, how was I able to understand that was my ancestors speaking?
Exactly.
Well, I think on so many levels, it's like there begins to be a space of repetition, where you get the same message from different people at different times, and it's consistent. And that's kind of the situation I found myself in, where I was getting the same message from different people who didn't know each other, and also dreams, all of these things that literally would be put. Like, I also, I'm a martial artist. I teach African martial arts, capoeira particularly. And before I studied the art, before I studied it, I would be in my dreams doing it, and I didn't know what it was. And so your blood, your dreams, when you go to places and things are happening that you're like, man, I feel like I've been here before, or I've seen this before. Those kinds of things were kind of happening on a consistent basis, and that kind of drove me to eventually cast Ephi. And then it said, your destiny is to be a priest. For a while, I kind of ran from it. I didn't know who to trust, because even being in this tradition, there are people that are not trustworthy.
Wow.
And I went through a lot of bumps and bruises, different teachers, different things, and until I got to this point where I found teachers, leadership who are ethical and that I could trust. And so it was a process. But as I said before, oftentimes you dream it. If you don't dream it, the message is coming to you consistently in like 4 or 5 different areas. You try to ignore it, and it crops up at the most interesting places. You go to I remember going to the gym one time, and this dude was dressed in all white, and then he said, I have a message for you. I'm sitting there like, who are you? You don't know me. And literally, when it comes like that, you have to begin to say to yourself, this isn't coincidence. This isn't by accident. And I'm receiving a message. Okay. So that's kind of the thing that helped me to understand what what I was dealing with pretty much on a visceral level before I even constructed a shrine.
Hmm. Wow, that's a very powerful experience. Now when you experienced it, were you afraid at all? Like what did you feel when you had that experience?
And at certain points, I definitely was afraid. I was like, man, this is, this, it doesn't really make sense here in America. We don't have, um, you don't necessarily have words to categorize, understand, label some of the aspects of the African experience. I remember back at that time, probably like 20 years ago, I was working for the Children's Defense Fund, and we would do Freedom Summers. And actually, Anthony Browder, who wrote the Browder Files, I had a conversation with him because I read one of his books, and he was like telling me, he was like, yeah, well, if, we're talking about African spirituality, and he referred me to a book called Of Water and the Spirit by Malidoma Patrice Somé. And he said, if 10% of the stuff in this book is true, we are living completely incorrectly. And I was like, whoa. So he
Hmm.
mentioned that book. Then my elders in the Pan African Association, they also mentioned the book. And I read the book. I was amazed. And then was able to meet Malidoma Patrice Somé and have conversations with him as well. But yeah,
Hmm.
that was, you know, those were experiences that, like, I was scared, but it was kind of a thing where you in a real sense, there are times that there's something that's motivating you that isn't you. And I found myself in many of those positions, oftentimes, that something was pulling me, pushing me, even through fear, even through doubt, even through, okay, I know this isn't necessarily the right person to deal with, but they have
Mhm.
certain information that I need at this time that will get me to the next plateau.
Mhm.
So let me humble myself and learn. There's something that was, even through fear, you know, Jesus and the cosmic hell gun, that's what I call it, is very, very strong. Decolonizing the mind from, Judeo-Christian values, any kind of Abrahamic religion. Um, all of these things are so hard to decolonize the African mind from. And
Mm.
that was one of the biggest things that I found myself struggling with early on until I was able to reconcile it.
Mhm.
Um, and in reconciling it, it's not like, from my perspective, it's not like saying, you know what, forget that background that I came from, that Christian, Muslim, or whatever background. Is you just understand it. And yes, that was me. I'm no longer that. This is
Mm.
is my this is my understanding, my growth of,
Mhm.
understanding and perceiving the cosmology of the universe. This is my culture. And I think the other thing in terms of that process, at certain points in time, I was at a space where I was like, you know what, I'm not going to anybody's church. Forget they church. And that was me for a time, until I kind of got to a place, I evolved to a place where I'm very strong in what I believe. Not even what I believe. I can't say that Ifa is something I believe in. It's something I know. You know what I'm saying? Belief and knowing are two different things. There's a certain fragility in belief. You know, someone says, "Oh, I believe in God." Okay, you know, the moment trouble comes, why God? Why have you forsaken me? Forget you. You know, and the reality of it is,
brother, I'm guilty of that too, man. We go through things and we find out that we really don't mean what we say. I want to say a shout out to my brother Silborn Siddle over in the UK, my brother. Thank you so much for tuning in, man. I appreciate you, man. Make sure, family, you tune in and watch this program as well over in the UK. But you know, Baba, let's talk about that, the purging of the systems that you had to get out of your system. You know, so what was the process that you went through in order to help yourself to be detoxed from the parasitic systems that you had learned prior to you embarking upon your journey to Ephi?
You know, I think for me, it's at a certain point, there's a purge that takes place, but then there's a reconciliation. And the reason I say it like that is because I love my family. You know, I love my mom and dad together. You know, they're still together like almost, 54 or 55 years of marriage. And they're Christian. And I love their Christianity. And we pray for each other and we respect each other. The issue there is is one, as African people here in America, we have to understand that many of our ancestors didn't have a choice. You know, like this is a generational thing, and we cannot disrespect or hate. I see so many people say, like right now in the movement, people putting up these signs, "We are not our ancestors. We will mess you up." And I'm like, you couldn't, those people who post those signs, you couldn't live through what our ancestors lived through. You aren't your ancestors. We know that.
Definitely. Brother, you telling the truth, Baba. You are telling the truth. A lot of us don't have their mental strength or their courage, man. Hey, family, if you please just hold on for a minute. Right now, we're just having some technical difficulties.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on.
No worries. Yes, yes, definitely, Bob. I can hear you and see you coming in clear now.
Okay. Yeah, but we have to respect, that. And for me, the purging process was really coming into my mind with a premise, one premise, and that premise.
Again, family, hold on. For those who know what's going on right now, we have that Mercury retrograde that's happening too. So for those who don't understand it, you could go look it up. Mercury, literally like Mercury, retrograde. You can go look it up. And when the Mercury retrograde happens, it causes a lot of technical difficulty. So some of you maybe experience more problems with your cell phone, with your devices, and things of that nature. So if you would, please, family, again, just hold on, bear with us. Okay. And we're going to bring Baba back on here in a minute. Thank you so much for tuning in, for everybody who did tune in. We greatly appreciate you for tuning in. Right now, the topic of discussion is African spirituality with Baba Jahsun Edmonds. And we're going to hold on and wait for him to come back. Okay, but in the meantime, In the meantime, I'm going to put up some information for you. So if you want to check him out, you can. Okay. This is the information to the program that he does is right there. All right. So I'm going to share with you some things in regards to what I experienced. I myself personally, I have, a Christian background. I'm a former bishop. All right. And for myself, I must be honest, I was afraid, of approaching our spirituality because I was taught that, it's satanic. And when I got over the fear, because see, the hell doctrine, is, to me personally, is a terroristic tactic. And I say that because the root word in it is terror. Okay. And it builds a fear in you because when you deal with the Bible, you hear about, not to consult, those who are diviners, and in Ephi, you deal with divination. And then it tells you not to observe the stars, and it blows my mind how, it's such an oxymoron because, that's how we're able to utilize, time devices. Okay. They came up with time by being able to observe, the sun, and things of that nature. So, we also utilize it in navigation when it comes to ships and things of that nature. So nature is used to be able to help us in our lives, but yet, we have a negative light that's shed upon, our spirituality, which is actually a science. So Baba Hassan, if you would please do pick up where you left off at.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on. It says
It's the Mercury retrograde going on too. It's the Mercury retrograde time.
Oh, okay. But I was just saying, just that process of purging is the one premise that I came with was, where did my ancestors go before there was a Jesus? Before, what did they do before there was colonialism? And I resigned to myself that the place where the great ancestors went, I wanted to go to. I wanted to do that. I wanted my ancestors' brand of heaven or Olum. I wanted that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I wanted, where did Nzinga go?
Yes.
Where did Hatshepsut? Where did where did Nat Turner go? What you understand what I'm saying? What did my ancestors who didn't follow this this system, where did they go when they passed away? And what was the life and the legacy that they lived on this earth? And that gave me a firm definition of what Orisha was, elevated ancestors. So yeah, it's very, very much for me a process of, ancestor veneration and understanding and connecting with my ancestors. And my ancestors were very helpful in basically saying, we're okay over here.
So now, with that being said, let's venture, because I know some people are wondering, because we mentioned this word Ephi. So, let's talk about that, Baba. What is Ephi, and how do we apply Ephi to our daily lives?
Okay. Well, Ephi is I would say that Ephi is the collective repository of wisdom, of the Odua people and the original people, I would say, of this galaxy even. I would say that is, in a nutshell, a snapshot of what Ephi is. The deity known as Orumila is the patriarch, the prophet, so to speak, of the tradition. And it's not, I don't consider Ephi a religion. I consider it a way of life, way of
Yes,
existence, way
absolutely.
of being. It dictates what I eat, how I walk indoors, how I use the bathroom. It dictates everything, you know. So, in terms of that, how we can ascertain that is like basically these ikin here. This is like the representation of what Ifa is.
Mhm.
Okay,
Stones.
ikin. That
Okay.
is the sacred palm, and we use that as a process of divination. We use those as a process of divination.
Now, Baba, what you said, those words, those stones or those nuts, like what
Yeah,
was those?
ikin, 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 and those are basically, that is like our knowledge and wisdom and understanding. That is our cell phone to Almighty God. If we want to know what's what, if we want to know how to handle something, we refer to those ikin, or we refer to Ifa, and that's how you ascertain that information. It manifests itself in the form of Odu Ifa, or Odu, the Odus. The Odu, there are 256 Odu Ifa, and these are like different route. These Odu Ifa are like pigeonholes in reality, in the universe, that in essence are like um, binary code or hyperlinks that literally birth civilizations, societies, towns, people, things, everything. They're literally the repository of existence,
Mm.
manifestation. Olodumare himself was initiated to Ifa. So in that regard, it is as if
Okay, family, again, just hold on. And he'll come back and we'll expound more. For those who don't know, Olodumare is the creator. All right, so that's the Odua people word that they utilize for the creator is Olodumare. And Ifa is the word of Olodumare. What like some Christians would say, like the word of God. You know what I'm saying? So it's the uh, word, if you will, that we abide by, like teachings, which is encapsulated with the Odus. And so when Baba come back on, we'll go over that as well. And in the meantime, because I want to use this time wisely, for those who are interested, this book helped me out a lot on my Ephi journey. You can purchase this book on Amazon. And I want to give a shout out to my brother RJ Mack, who asked that question. So I want a lot of you to be able to reap the benefits too, so you can see what it actually look like. It's Hero Lofi songs. As you can see, it's a collection of the Odua spiritual prayers for Ogun. Ogun is the ancestors and the Orishas. Okay, so here it is again. You can use this book. Also, I want to refer another book to you. Just like Baba was talking about before the technical difficulties, the 200, I believe he said 256, if I'm not mistaken, Odus. Well, this is just one of the volumes, you know, of the Odus. Ewe Odu Ephi. You know, you can purchase this on Amazon as well, from my knowledge. Okay. And this is the book right here to help you, you know, during this time. Now, it also, this book, that book also, it also translates it from the Odua language to English as well. So, you know, you'll be able to understand it when you read it. It'll have the language right next to it too. Okay, Baba, as you were saying.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you had to apologize. I understand.
Like literally, the internet is really crazy right now.
Yeah, like I said, it literally it's the Mercury retrograde.
Yeah,
it literally is. And matter of fact, family, I'm gonna type that in for you. Some of you can go look that up. And like I said, that Mercury retrograde, it literally messes with technology as well. So some of you can go check that out when you have some time.
Before, yeah, everything was working perfectly. Seems like I've frozen.
Yes, but we can still hear you though. So if you'd like to continue, you may do so.
Okay.
Or you can try to log out and come back in. That's fine. You know, I'll work with you.
Okay, let me see something.
Okay, family. So there it is. It's the Mercury retrograde. So, you know, go check that out. You know, you'll see some people think these things are myths, but I promise you, you'll come to find that during this time, you know, it does mess with technology. So again, I thank you for your patience. Please hold on. You know, I feel like, you know, he's got some more good information. We're halfway through it. Okay, so just hold on, you know, and I believe you're still in for a treat. Okay, we're going to work through this. We're going to keep going. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop.
Hello?
We can hear you, but we just can't see you, Baba.
Wow.
Okay, in the meantime, what I'll do is I'll continue to tell you my story. So what happened was, you know, I came across Ephi. My queen actually inboxed me a video of Oluwo Jahsun Edmonds, and it helped me out a lot because I was seeking for, you know, a temple I could go to in order for me to be able to get the proper guidance, you know, that I needed because of me being a novice. You know, I may have been very savvy to the Christian arena because I had been teaching and preaching the Bible for over 20 plus years, you know, of my life. So when I actually started, somebody refers a book. Okay, family. So there goes a place where you can go. As well, you know, to get some books. Thank you, whoever referred that book there in our Facebook group. Okay, our Uwa Pele Movement Facebook group. Okay, so family, when I started Ancestor veneration, and I set up my altar, okay, I had an encounter with a gungun. Okay, if you don't know what that is, that's the ancestors, and they visited me in my dreams. And it was a very pleasant experience. Very pleasant experience. And it wasn't like I was told. I didn't experience any demonic possession. Okay, nothing started shaking in my room or anything like that. You know how you watch those movies, you get all this dramatic type of stuff, that happened. I just felt their energy, and they spoke to me in our native tongue, and I began to speak back to them. It was like, how those who grew up in church saying, out of your belly flows rivers of living water springing up. Okay, well, it was like that. I began to speak to them in return in our language. And I was like, man, how do I know this? It was what you call like a lucid dream, because it was so surreal. Like I felt the energy, felt their love, felt the power. You know what I'm saying? It was more real than this life as we know it. And so they visited me on numerous occasions and have answered me. When I pour libations, and when I speak to them, not pray, but speak, literally hold a conversation with, ancestors and talk to them. And it's been a blessed life ever since I started on this journey. Have a higher consciousness as well. So my life actually improved. My life actually got better. It was the total opposite of what we're taught. Right? Oh, all these bad things are going to happen to you. No, not at all. Not at all. Divine protection. My knowledge and wisdom and understanding began to enhance. I literally started, getting revelations, of information. I started getting connected with people who know our culture and our language. I mean, so the ancestors literally guided me. And that's what they are. They're our guides. Okay, they literally guide us. And again, I speak to the ancestors who I know have my best interests at heart. Okay, let me just say that. Okay, I pray for those who weren't so good in the earth. That they'll be forgiven for their karma. That they reaped here on this earth, the negative karma. I definitely pray for them in that arena. But the ones who I invoke, are the ones who I know have my best interests at heart, and so that's what I do. So I'm gonna bring this book back up to you, because there's a prayer in here, that you can pray, for your ancestors. Okay. And so matter of fact, let me go in here. To that, and I'll just share that. I'll share that with you. So, okay, it's a prayer. It's in a I Hear Olofi song. Okay, this is it right here. And this is the prayer for the deceased and the family. Okay. So I want to make sure I use this time wisely because of the technical difficulties we have. And so I want to make sure it's not any waste of time. So we're going to go through this. So again, you can purchase this book. This is the name of the book. I'll type it in. Okay, along with the author as well. So Elder, I read your statement out there, Elder Vincent Robinson. Thank you so much for that suggestion. So I'll make sure I put that information out there. Okay. But this is also the writer, but I'm gonna type it in as well. Okay, so I'm reading this from I Hear Olofi song. All right, and this is the prayer for those who are deceased in the family. Kotope. Queen Armisha Edmonds said, that's a great prayer. Thank you for sharing. So Kotope, that means you're welcome in the Odu language. All right, so beloved spirit, I call upon you, and here you'll put whoever your ancestor name is. So I'm gonna put my ancestor name there. Beloved spirit, I call upon you, Alton D. Walden Sr., to be in alignment with the love and light of Olofi, the divine presence and the creator. Beloved spirit, Alton D. Walden Sr., you are a part of the family lineage to which I was born. You who walk with my family, let this prayer enlighten you, strengthen you, and help you evolve through Olofi's will. May you have peace with all your life's journey on earth, and I pray that you resolve all karmic energy. I pray that in your reincarnation, you return through the karmic destiny that best supports your evolution and the evolution of any others whom you may have touched in your lifetime. I pray as you lift me up, I will lift you up, not only by my prayer, but by my deeds. Not only my deeds, but my intentions, and not only my intentions, but my will and my service. And that's a prayer for a goon. Okay, Baba, you're back.
Yeah, sorry. For some reason, it just seemed like everything was going in and out. So I've kind of made a different space. So, all right.
Okay, the floor is yours, Baba, whenever you want to start.
Yeah, I don't remember the questions you asked.
Okay, what is Ephi and how can Ephi be used in our daily lives?
Well, I mean, Ephi is, as I've said before, the collective wisdom. It's like a repository of all experience, all ability to do everything by the Odua people. How can we incorporate it into our daily lives? I mean, I would suggest people cast Ephi. And, you know, in terms of Ephi, there are at least 256 correct answers, 256 ways to do things the right way. So 256 paths to God, 256 ways of doing anything, 256 answers to every problem. So when we analyze it in that way, what we're also seeing is that we have the ability to negotiate any situation, challenging or not so challenging, merely by casting Ephi and doing the abo. And when we cast Ephi and do the abo, it's going to tell us different ways to to address the situation. What I mean by addressing the situation, it's not enough to just offer a bow. What you also need to do is follow Ephi's advice. So
I say,
in terms of that, that is the way in which we incorporate it into our lives is really by doing, and also by praying, and also understanding and knowing, educating ourselves as to what the culture is and what our culture is. You know, a child doesn't grow up. A child is not necessarily born knowing everything. You have to get the information. So I look at us as all children, and we have to get the information as to what Ephi has to say and live by it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. So for those who don't understand, Ephi, what do you mean by casting Ephi?
Divination. Go to a competent Babalao or Ephi, and those things that I showed you, the Ikin or the Opole, they will cast those things, and an Odu will appear, and that Odu will be the guidepost to assist people in accomplishing their destiny. The key here is to find your destiny, and then once you find it, then to follow it, and then to fulfill it. As I said before, those Odu Ephi are like they're like the best way for us to look at it is they look like code for a computer. They look like binary code, but if we look at them deeper, they're like the binary code for all existence, for everything that exists in the world. Everything has an Odu. So the Odu is going to give us the information and the wisdom on how to accomplish and do everything.
Okay, and what's an Odu for those who don't know what that is, and for those who don't know, it's spelled O-D-U.
Mm-hmm. When you say what is an Odu, it's kind of like what I was saying. Odu Ifa is like the the repository for all existence. They're like pigeonholes in reality, energy points that that give us that basically, for lack of a better way of putting it, like hyperlinks to creating humanity, creating societies, creating universes, towns, everything. Um, when you look, if I was in my shrine room, I could show you the Odu File that was on the wall, what it actually looks like. So they're basically 8 opportunities for light and darkness. When you see it literally spelled out or written, that's what it looks like. One leg of Odu has 4 opportunities vertically, and then there's 2 legs of Odu Ifa. The right side and the left side, and those give us the complete composite picture of reality and existence for a particular person, place, thing, what have you.
Okay, now what are the Orishas?
So when we look at Orisha, what I think here in the diaspora, we oftentimes have an idea of Orisha, and sometimes these things that are Orisha are also Irumole. Irumole are basically primordial divinities that um, that aided in making the earth habitable, and they also assist us to this day. So many Orishas are also Irumole. Orisha is basically the way I've often categorized what Orisha is or what Orisha means. The word, in essence, is crowned head, um, uh, select head. I've read in various places that that's what the word means.
Mm-hmm.
And when we look at what Orisha is also can be deified plants, trees, deified people, people who have left a legacy of character. And as a result of leaving that legacy of character, that person was identified by the larger community as an Orisha. Like, for example, Oya, Yemonja, those are Orisha. And they're also associated with bodies of water, Yemonja River, and so on and so forth. When we look at them, also there are examples of when that person Yemonja actually walked the earth, or that person Oya actually walked the earth. So that is Orisha. When we look at Irumole are primordial. And when I say primordial, many of these Irumole, there are 801 Irumole, 400 on the right. Excuse me, there are 200 on the right, 200 on the left, and then there are 401 that are able to travel between the two. And when we speak of these 401 Irumole, we're talking about Oshun, Orunmila, Ogun, Shango. We're speaking of Aroabidi Dampapa. We're talking about Oloro Pinkin, Ajalamopin. These are different names of Irumole.
Mm-hmm.
That
Rumale is like priests, right?
no,
The Rumala?
Irumole are primordial beings. They can decide that they want to show up here on Earth and
Mm-hmm.
have a human experience. They're not really individuals. They're not born of a human. They're not born
Mm-hmm.
of a human. They can choose to show up here and marry, intermarry with human beings. The deity known as Oduduwa, who is the one who established Yoruba or Oduduwa society, kingdom, so on and so forth. That individual came to Earth, and he had a wife, which was the first human being. Her name was Inini Benini, and Inini Benini basically she with Oduduwa they had 8 sets of twins, and this is what um, also gave rise to human beings populating the earth. So I'm saying that Irumole can come to the earth. They don't have to be born from a human body, and they can marry, they can procreate children, and they can do all of these things and have an experience and then decide to go back. The difference there in terms of that and an Orisha is an Orisha oftentimes is either a deified plant, tree, what have you, and also a human being that left a legacy of character. And
Mm-hmm.
upon leaving a legacy of character, they became basically deified. And as they were deified, then they became known throughout the community. And um, so many folks in the community basically know them, worship them, and then there's a festival day created around them, and that, in essence, elevated that human being or that um, plant, tree, what have you, into an Orisha because of what it did.
Wow, that is powerful, man. That's powerful about these stories. I like to hear these various creation stories and how things began. As we know it today, we come to the knowledge of it and to hear our stories from various cultures and their views about these things. It's beautiful, man. So let's talk about you know um, your travels, because you traveled to the motherland. You went to Nigeria. You went to Lagos. Your Babalua is from there, and so what I would like for you to do, if you'd be so kind, to talk about your experience interacting with the people, and let us know, did you notice a difference between the way they socialize as Africans in Africa who were raised in the culture versus those of us who are African who are born in America, if you would be so
Mhm.
kind?
Yes. Well, I would say, I travel at least once a year to Nigeria to study with my Oluwo Chief Shalagbare Popola. Um, and I study under him. And in terms of that, um, the African people who are born on the continent, they there are some people who are traditionalists, some people are not traditionalists. Um, and the folks who are not traditionalists, oftentimes, they have a really skewed view of what traditionalism is.
Hmm.
Traditionalists, on the other hand, I guess the socialization and the interaction between African traditionalists and African people born in America who are traditionalists, um, it really just depends. I think the thing of it is finding ethical people. One, the other thing is on the continent there's tons of poverty, um, and poverty pushes people to do things that oftentimes are not the most ethical. So oftentimes you have to be very choosy and very discerning in
Mhm.
terms of who you trust in the tradition, so that you can have the best experience. And also people who are knowledgeable, because right now online on Facebook there are tons of babalaos that, or people who call themselves babalaos, who are
Exactly.
contacting folks. Hey, do you have a problem? I solve all problems, and you know,
Yeah.
and a
Fake,
true,
those
yeah,
fake pastors. But anyway.
yeah, a true babalao does not solicit himself. That is, these are ethical things. If you know what Ifa is, if you have a Baba Ifa, basically a teacher, Iya Ifa, someone who teaches you. So it's important to locate and find ethical people to do that. For me, every time I go to the continent, everybody thinks I'm a Yoruba man. I was born in Southeast San Diego. You know,
Yeah, you
uh,
look like our people. You know what I'm saying? You are our people.
yeah, and I am.
There you go.
So the key in that discussion is, also, really identifying the fact that, hey, I'm from North America, and how do we negotiate this interaction,
Yes,
knowing
yes.
that, and also knowing that your ancestors sold my ancestors into slavery. That's a whole other conversation that we have yet to have, but we need
Mm,
to have it. We need to have that. But in terms of that, um, you know, many times I'm afforded certain liberties until I open my mouth, like
mm,
going to the market and different things, because oftentimes, as soon as you open your mouth, they'll be like, "Oh, you are American," and then you know things. Then they raise the prices. But for the most part, my experience with Africans on the continent has been, a beautiful experience, one of love, one of respect, one of mutual destiny, and um, communication. But as I said before, like with anything else, with any other person, any other community, any other thing, you have to be discerning. You have to be discerning and look for good, ethical people. There's a song in Ifa that goes, "Inyarere la uau, inyarere la umpwe." That Ifa says, we're looking for good people.
mm,
Looking for good people. Good
mhm,
people come here. So you got to find good folks.
mm. Man, I tell you, I really like that. So from what I gathered, there is a difference that you notice in regards to conduct.
Mhm.
But however, some can be dishonest too, even though you know that they are raised in that culture because of the love of money. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate your honesty about that, because so many, they want to paint this perfect picture as if though we don't have to get our hearts right. You
Mm.
know, and as if though our people over in the motherland don't have to chastise their children, and things of that nature. So I really appreciate you shedding some light on that, the positive, and the negative portion about that. So let's talk about how do you feel about in your personal opinion, because of you being a practitioner of Ephi. How do you feel like Ephi is the solution, for the issues that have been plaguing our people for centuries? How do you feel like Ephi will play a role in the transformation of the dilapidated state that our people are in today?
Yeah. Well, I think I also want to add, Ifa can play a part in transforming the dilapidated state of Nigeria, the dilapidated state of Yoruba land, all of Yoruba land, whether it's Togo, Benin, um, Ghana, all over, you know. So Ifa can transform it, but the key is, for me, the thing I think about so much is, how do we um, how do we harness that energy together? And so many things. And Okan Ofun Ifa talks about the days, how the construction of the days of the week came about. Like today is Ojo Aje, Ojo Aiku, Ojo Bo, the various days of the week. And when we look at that, create how that process happened in the story, Ifa says that at the when the Irumole came to the earth to inhabit the earth and make it habitable for humans, um, they're given a command. They're giving Ashe. We call it Ogba Ashe, the Garden of Command, and they were given this thing, this power, and what they needed to do with it was basically use that power or use that command, and they could bring into existence anything as long as it was good and for the good of the community. And so I take that as what we need to do with Ifa. We as a community need to come together and decide what's good for the community. We don't need to be using Ifa. Like in the story, Eshu in that story became envious or angry with Ella, also known as Orumila. And they're the day of three evil mechanisms, three evil commands, where he basically said, if Orumila will not survive this curse, if Orumila survives this curse, he will not progress. If he's able to progress, he will not get out of this area. So the Irumole had conflicts with each other as well, but that's the other thing is the Irumole, what we have to do as human beings is also figure out ways to solve our problems based upon the way that the Irumole did. So in that, Eshu put these three evil mechanisms on Orumila, and basically what happened is now what did I say about that command? Do what is good for the benefit of the whole community, for everybody.
Yes.
And that those commands that Eshu put in place, that wasn't for the good of the community. And what happened? Orumila woke up the next day, Ojo Aiku, or Ojo Aiku, he woke up the next day, and what did he do? He began blessing everybody. He blessed even Eshu Odara, who had cursed him. He blessed all of the Irumole. So what that is also saying to us is that we need to use Ifa as a means to heal our community. And
Yes.
the way that we do that is we do things, we bring the community together. On more than maybe about 5, 6 occasions, I've done or put out the call for different Oluwos to come together. And what we would do, and what we've done, we did it maybe 2 weeks ago, actually, around this election, around COVID-19, where different Oluwos from different cities and states got together on a Zoom call. And what we did, we talked about the problem. Like, how do we want to change things? How do we want to transform the world? Who do we want to be elected? How do we want them to serve our needs? And how do we want this COVID to stop? What do we want to do? So we all got together and did that. And then we talked, and we talked in my shrine room, and we talked with Ifa out. And after that, we casted Ifa based upon our conversation. These are the things that we're all coming together to agree upon. And we want healing, we want transformation, we want change. Ifa, help us. So I did that around years ago around police brutality, around just the current political situation, around when Nipsey Hussle was murdered, literally down the street from my house. Um, we we've come together on various things for ancestral curses to remove them. So to me, that's what I feel like we as Ephi practitioners should be doing, is not using our Ephi or our information to say, oh, this person didn't do it right, or this and that. We need to come together as a community and figure out what our commonalities are and work together using Ephi to transform the world. Because the only issue is that we have not accessed that. We haven't invited Ephi in. In Nigeria as well, invite Ephi in. Utilize Ephi to resolve many of these problems with SARS. I know Owls who came together when Ebola was running rampant in that area. I know Owls in Benin and Nigeria, other areas that use their knowledge of Ifa and their knowledge of herbs to stop Ebola in certain areas. So it can be done. It can be done. We can do it. It's just, are we willing to? Are people willing to put aside ego and petty differences and whatever and work for the common good of the community? Work for the common good of the world. We all have to live in it. There are so many environmental issues that we need to deal with. If the world keeps going in the direction that it's going, in perhaps 6 to 8 years, the damage will be irreversible, excuse me. So we need to begin to mature in our understanding of Ifa and how to handle challenging situations, because we can do it. We can transform this world.
Wow, that is absolutely powerful, Baba. We thank you so much for coming on and sharing, your wisdom with us and how our spirituality, just hearing from you how it can actually transform our lives for the embetterment, of not just only for us as a people, but for society holistically, and how it can bring about healing to the minds and the heart of all humanity who embraces.
We've got to do that. Yeah, we've got to do that.
I say. So I know that there's a couple questions I because of the technical difficulties, this will be my last couple questions, and we'll be closing after that. Baba, you have the opportunity to share anything else you would like to. But my last two questions is this: is there actually three? Is there a heaven concept or a hell concept, or is there a Satan or a devil concept with Ephi?
Well, I hope you have seen, and other people have seen, my my brother's Ephi bin Shola Owomide. He's been really on the forefront, Popola, of pushing this concept of Eshu is not Satan. Eshu is not Satan. So, and what that was coming from is Google and other some Nigerian ministers have basically done some things where they were translating information, and on Google Translate, Google will translate in Yoruba. If you write Satan, it will be Eshu, and there is Eshu is not Satan. Eshu is
not at all.
Force that supports individuals who have offered a bow, and he is truly an emissary of Olodumare. So Eshu is not Satan. There is no Satan. In the Judeo-Christian aspect, if the Satan concept, the devil concept as it exists, then you can blame the devil for your bad actions. No, it's you. You have to take responsibility for what you're doing, what you did. And the other thing about it is there are consequences. It's not like, okay, I prayed and it's all gone. No, you know, like mass murderers who accept God on their deathbed, now they're suddenly absolved for what they did. No, that's not it. So
Oh, it's
um,
something else, isn't it?
yeah, like when we look at this, if I um what else? When we look at this, for example, Ifa says that there is a place called Ogbatero, and this is basically like the Garden of Perfect Peace. It's not Orun. Orun is the sky world. Orun is not quote unquote heaven. It's merely the sky world. Ogbatero is basically like a paradise kind of concept that when human being, you know, when people do what is good and they try to live a life of good character, they their good deeds is their passport into Ogbatero, and their um their their initiation to Ifa, their Ekin, is their visa into the inner sanctums of Ogbatero. So it's not a quote unquote heaven concept,
Mm-hmm.
but there is a concept of a place where you can go if you have done good deeds. The
Mm-hmm.
other thing is there's Odu Ifa, I believe Odu is Ogbe Ate. And Ifa, there's a story of three brothers, Sara Sara, Sebi Sebi, and Sheki Sheki. There were two brothers, two of them came to Earth and their whole job was to do great things. And one was supporting the family, the other one was supporting the community. And then the last brother, his job, he basically was coming to Earth. When he came, he told Olodumare, you know what, I don't want to do any good. I want to kill people and I want to do all these things. Olodumare said, is that that's what you're saying you want to do? You don't want to take the destiny that I want to give you? Yes. Oh, okay. He came to Earth and he did his business. He killed both his brothers, he killed community members and things like that. And then what ended up happening with that last brother is that people in the community just began to leave him alone.
Hmm.
And he died alone. Basically, as Ifa said, he died alone in his feces and vomit and all of these things.
Wow.
And then when he went back, because we always have to go back and answer for what we did. He
Hmm.
went back to uh he went back into a room, and there was a place that separated him where he saw his brothers and family and all the people that he killed, and they were having a good time. And he tried to wave, he tried to communicate with them. What Ifa is saying here is that bad actions have consequences. He
Hmm.
he had to sit there and confess to Eshu all the negative things that he did. And then he wasn't able to connect with his brothers. What he
Hmm.
had to do is he had to come back here to the marketplace and do it again. So
Hmm.
in terms of that concept of quote unquote hell, that's
Hmm.
not there. It's really about, did you fulfill your destiny?
Hmm.
Did you fulfill your destiny? Hell, or what hell is in essence the fact that we have regrets. Let's say, you know, it might be your destiny to be a great singer, but you decide, you know what, I want to be a lawyer. And the challenges in your mind and your heart with being a lawyer, you're not happy. And then when we pass, the challenge is that our life is replaying in our mind, in our spirit, it's replaying as we're making that transition. And what Ifa is saying is that the more triumphs, the more victories, the more you are in alignment with your destiny, that is the space that you're in your space of quote unquote paradise, but your hell is your regrets. Your hell is that space of like, man, I really wish
Mm-hmm.
I followed my destiny. I really wish, it's no worse. Nothing is worse than living a destiny that is not your own, or being good
Mm-hmm.
at a destiny that is not your own.
Mm.
And that, in essence, is your hell. You live your hell on earth.
Mm.
You live it in the afterlife, and then you come back in order to try to figure out how to do it right. And what ends up happening is is a concept called ayamo, and that concept of ayamo is basically, the best way to put it is like karma. These are aspects of your destiny that you cannot change. There are three aspects of destiny: akunleyan, akunleba, and ayamo. Akunleyan is the thing that which you basically choose while basically what you're doing while you're kneeling. Akunlegba, you make your choices. Oh, I want to be great in business. I want to be an individual who supports their family. I want to do all these things. That's your akunleyan. Kulegba is basically what the Irumole also give for you to support your destiny that you chose. Like, you want to have a great family, so you might have the Kulegba be born to some parents who push that. You want to be good at business, you might be born in an area, a Kulegba might, excuse me, your Kulegba might give you, excuse me, the Irumole might give you through your Kulegba things that support that.
Mm-hmm.
But that last portion is Ayano. These are aspects of your destiny that you cannot change. You cannot change gender. You cannot
Mm.
change your racial makeup. You can't change your parents.
Mm-hmm.
These are aspects that you cannot change. Even physical ailments, physical maladies at times, certain physical maladies that you can't change once you get here. And oftentimes those things, that aspect of that ayamo might be, okay, an individual who severely abused women when he was walking the earth. As part of his ayamo, now you're a woman. You're
Mm.
going to be born back into this world as a woman. Now,
Wow.
And so these are different things. So when we talk about this concept of heaven, hell, we don't have a hell. It's just, you got to come back and do it again, and people might think that that's hell, you know. But I look at it like Olodumare has picked every one of us to win. We're all picked to win. But the challenge comes when we begin to envy other people, when we begin to look at other folks and be like, he has this and I don't have that. You can be the best within your field. The Odu Iwori Meji Ifa says, the Ifa tapper with the broad and uneven base. This was the Ifa cast for Iwori Meji when coming from heaven to earth to be number 3. What is this talking about? In Iwori Meji, basically, your destiny is to be number 3. And when we think about that, everybody now is like, I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a billionaire. I want this. I want that. That ain't your destiny.
Mm. Mm.
But that doesn't mean that your destiny is bad, that you aren't supposed to be a millionaire, rich and famous. It just means that's not you. Stay in your lane,
Wow.
So these aspects of envy, all those things kind of, transform us. And the best thing is to try to live a life of good character. Try to do the best. Try to do the best and try to bring good things into the world.
Ashe, ashe, ashe. Well, family, we thank you so much for tuning in to the African Spirituality Program with Oluwo Jahsun Edmonds on today. Again, make sure that you reach out to him. There go his information there. I'm going to try to pull this thing up, Baba. Hopefully it'll come up properly. The flyer that you sent me.
Yeah, this Friday I do Ephi class every Friday, and I try to make it based on like contemporary topics. So many people have been really looking at, and I was so intrigued by the show Lovecraft Country. So I wanted to really talk about it from an Ephi perspective, from a perspective of African people reclaiming African spirituality, reclaiming Ephi. Interestingly enough, Letty in the show, she said she bound there's a white witch woman who was, anyway, about it, those of you who know about it. But in there, she told this woman who was basically destroying Black folks. She said, on the TV show, she said after she was able to stop this powerful witch, she said the witch was like, "Well, what's wrong? Did you bind me from doing witchcraft?" She was like, "Not just you, all white people. I bound all white people from doing magic." And then she said, "Magic is ours now." So that last point of magic is ours. I didn't want to say now because it's always been ours. And that's what I wanted to talk about on this coming Friday.
Okay, family. So there it is. There go the information. I have the flyer posted up there for those who would like to be participants in this phenomenal event that's going to be occurring. Okay, there's the information there, October the 30th.
Yeah. And we do these every Friday. Every Friday. So if you want to know more, you can communicate with me either on Facebook or send me a text message or an email. And I do these classes every Friday. Maybe about in the middle of the summer, we did a 5-part series on healing and healing the Black family using Ephi as a means to heal and restore the Black family. Yeah, I've been doing different little things where we come together and make these ways of using Ephi applicable to our existence here in America.
Ashe. So there go the information, family. Again, we thank you so much for tuning in. Baba, we thank you, my queen of mine. Thank you so much for coming on and again sharing your wisdom. And we pray, peace and blessings be upon you and your family.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but I thank you that we were able to get everything together in the end.
No worries at all. Okay, family, we pray that the rest of you continue to have a blessed day. Okay, long life, good health, spiritual and financial prosperity follow you all the days of your life. Ashe, ashe, ashe.
All right, thank you so much.
Katope.